Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NUFC 360 podcast. This week is a special episode because it is the Bold and Bo show. I couldn't convince anyone else to speak to me, so Bo, you're the last one to come on in. How's your day in Florida gone?
Yeah, man, it's hot, but I'm glad I'm here. I get to speak with you, Mark, a little bit. You're the ivory to my ebony, so I very much appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Weather-wise, if people want to know, in the UK, it's 6 degrees this morning. And we're talking to Bo, and he was saying it was 31 in Florida. So, do one, mate. Do one. So, lots to get through today. We're going to start with the man of the hour, Mr. Paul Mitchell. Now, this guy came in. I was very excited. I think a lot of people were excited. Everyone was kind of saying, we win. Dan Ashworth's gone. We've been paid millions for him, and we got the guy that they really wanted, and we're the winners here. And then the transfer window happened, and it was fucking shit. There's no other way of saying it. It was just shite, terrible bollocks. I could not imagine. People kept saying to me, "Well, we didn't sell our best players." That should not be the benchmark. Like that. Mm-hmm. That makes it an awful transfer window, and it wasn't. It was just a crap one. It was a very unexciting, uninspiring one, and it looks like he's trying to shift the blame. From what I can tell, he's come in and said that when he came in, it's not been fit for purpose, and it was kind of shifting the blame. What are your thoughts on what he said? Why do you think he's come out with that? Do you think he was right to come out with that?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, Mark, it's funny because knowing Paul Mitchell and looking at his history, we've seen that he is a very good sporting director. He was at MK Dons for a bit. He was at RB Leipzig. Found guys like Dele Alli, Dusan Tadic, heck, even he brought in Trippier, so we know that he's got a good background, but we can definitely say that the beginning of his tenure here at Newcastle United has been a little rocky. With the recent interview he did with a number of the media, it definitely seemed like he was shifting some of the blame, and there wasn't really a real coherent message in what he was trying to say. Which now has, left us in a little bit of flux. Obviously when he came in, it wasn't great just because we were in the middle of the transfer window. We were trying to do business, but business wasn't happening. Couldn't sell our players. And then we had that whole, Gahey incident where, apparently he was the one who wanted Gahey. He said that he could get Gahey. He didn't get Gahey. And then, after they're kind of like, all right, well, I guess we're not doing anybody. So it's definitely an interesting situation, to say the least. Mark, what are you feeling? I'm of the volition where I think things might get a little better. But obviously a rocky start like this is obviously hard to beat.
Directors of football should be children. They should be seen and not heard. I can't tell you anything that Dan Ashworth said other than happy to be here, whoop-de-doo, zippity-doo-dah, here's some players. Like, you are not there. You don't actually give a shit about what he's got to say. I don't care. Mate, bro, all you're there for is find me children to get in this team. That's all I want. Find me quality players that can start building the academy up. And it for me, it looks really unprofessional. Like, even if it was a shit show, for me, it can't be, because we got in without him. We got Bruno, Botman, Isak, Gordon. We got all these quality players. Every window up to now has been good. We've got players that have objectively made the team better for now and some for the future. So for him to come in and kind of go, nah, it's not fit for purpose. I'm like, well, yes, agreed. We are nowhere near the fight, where we need to be as a club. We're not doing what Man City do and pluck world-class players for not much money anymore. A Kanji for 15 million comes to mind. Manage Jack Grealish for 100 mil, but they do good business. Like, they got the Haaland deal done. I think it only cost 40 mil. Again, that's where they are, and we're not going to compete with Man City for a decade. But him coming in, it looks like he's shifting the blame, and it's a very unprofessional look. It looks like something a man thought he looks like would do. Have a shave, bro. Have a shave. lose 2 stone. Have a shave. Put a top on. Have a shower. It looks like he's just come off the street and he's come out with these comments. And I'm like,
I'll tell you. It's one of those things where we know how Eddie Howe is. We know how he manages. We know how he likes things to be
nicely presented. Yes,
exactly. But for him to essentially have somebody above him come in and say, I think I can do this. We can do this a different way. And things already start off a little rocky. it definitely leaves you to wonder a little bit. You know, Howe's done an incredible job in terms of transforming Newcastle, bringing in good targets, and those targets succeeding. You know, whether it's Tonali, whether it was Bruno, whether it was Isak, we've seen them do well. You know, so now with this, internal friction that we're seeing a little bit, I'll be interested to see how things kind of play out. They say, a lot of the media says that, things have now smoothed over. They're doing okay. They haven't had any issues since then. But all I feel like is it takes one bad day for that to change.
I was literally about to say, because all it's done is to come in and disrupted, which you do want disruption, but you want it in a good way. You want like all these staff have been told they've got to do all these things, and all these players have been told what's what. And all he's done is come in, disrupted Eddie Howe by the looks of things. He's come out with some negative comments, hasn't looked the happiest. And now you've made it open season for the media to start just spinning Coronation Street nonsense. Like, oh, they've made up now. And oh, Eddie Howe's not happy with the way he does his coffee differently now. And all these silly things that will come out. Just a bad result, the way that Paul Mitchell looks, the way that Eddie Howe looks. It's now just going to be crappy story after crappy story, which we didn't need after a poor summer. So, I hope they've made up. I mean, when these sort of stories come out, I always just give them no mind, because the fully grown men at the top end of their sport, they're going to be professional. You don't get to be the director of football of those clubs you mentioned and Eddie Howe managing teams and being linked with England. They are going to be professional and move on. But I've not been impressed. He has to have, and he's made a run for his own back, as I said last time, because now we have to nail it in January, and it's the hardest window.
Yep.
And I swear to God, Bo, I swear to God, I've seen it a few times. If we go for Gahey again, if we go for Gahey, I will support Sunderland. No, I can't. Yeah, I'd be so annoyed, because it's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We were mugged off, and all I keep saying is, well, Gahey's definitely a target now. I really hope it's a smokescreen, because if we go back in for him, I'd pull whatever hair I have left off my body. It's just outrageous. Would you go back in for Gahey quickly? Because
it's one of those things. It's one of those things, and you and I both know. I think they said that he had a year left at the time on his contract, and it's starting to run down. And Crystal Palace know that. They're probably. I mean, honestly, I'm baffled that they didn't even want to sell, because now unless a new contract comes out, his value is just going to plummet. People are going to be able to come in and say, hey, we can wait 6 months and we'll grab him on a free. We're perfectly fine with doing that. So I think Crystal Palace is going to regret not taking that offer. I'm similar to you, where if we can't get a very cut deal, I'm talking like 40 million, I would leave him alone. I would go and move on to another target on your list, because we know that Eddie Howe likes a certain type of player, but we also know that from history that they have, player B, player C, player D. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, hey, if we'll go in there for one offer, if they don't want it, we'll move on to the next one. There's no point in playing with somebody like Steve Parrish, who is just going on Sky Sports and is just talking out his bum just to say what he can.
Yeah, and again, the only way we could go in for him is stealthy, 40 mil, agreed, done. Because he'll blab again, and that's it. That's enough about talking about frigging Mark Bloody Gahey, great defender ever. And some good news, some positive news came out of Newcastle in the last few days, with Joe Willock coming back from his injury. Not as bad as it was feared. I think it was a thigh muscle strain thing, and he's been training. Who would you start him? Are you excited to get him back? What are you expecting from him?
I'm excited to get him back, but it's one of those things where I love him as a player. I think he's a great player. He's young. I think he's got loads of promise. Hell, I think he could play for England one day. It's one of those things where I'm looking at it, though, and I'm getting a little worried, because every time he's come back, I feel like we rushed him back. I remember, I think even last season, when he came back for that Arsenal game, ended up scoring. But after that, we're like, okay, I think there's something else wrong, And I know it was previously it was his Achilles, and this is a thigh. So obviously it's two different injuries, but still one of those things where, hey, I'm like, you take your time. We've got Tonali now. We've got people coming in. Like, it's okay. Like, you don't need to have to rush out there and blow a hamstring, sprinting down the field, because we know you love to do that. But I am excited for him. I'm glad it wasn't as serious as first feared. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting him back soon. but not too soon. Don't risk it.
He's in big risk of becoming injury prone. I mean, he's clearly injury prone, but he needs like Isak. I feel he needs to not have an injury this year. I mean, a big one, a few weeks out is here or there, but he needs, when he's back, I totally agree. I'd happily wait a little while, but you see the impact that he has. I think he's, for me, he has the most impact of bringing the ball, running with the ball, carrying the ball up the pitch. And he does it with such pace as well. I don't think there's anyone else in the team that does that as well as he does in that midfield position. So we do hope he come back, Joe, but keep your legs.
Exactly.
If I said together, that's not quite what I meant, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to tell him.
Exactly. And I'll tell you. I mean, another person who is slowly there. I mean, the club has shown pictures of them is Callum Wilson. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, like we have gentlemen coming back, but I don't want to risk them. Put them in bubble wrap. Let them do their rehab. You know, if it takes till the next international break, wait. I do not want to see Callum Wilson or Joe Willock run out there for 20 minutes and then sit up on the ground. And even Botman coming back in Christmas, right? So
I think Wilson's trying to collect the most. I think he's going for every single possible injury, every single one. Like he's like hamstrings go, and then Corey's right pectoral. That's an injury I get on Football Manager. And I'm like, bullshit, that ever happens. That never happens. The bullshit game. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so he'll next week it'll be like a broken cheek, and the week after it'll be a stubbed toe. It'll be all sorts of But that's why he plays for us, because if he wasn't injured, he would be playing for England, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Not many good, not many goal scorers out there.
Yep. We've got a lot of good players coming back soon, and I don't want them to be rushed. Let's do what we have to do, play the way we have to play in order to save people's health and fitness. I don't need another injury crisis like last year.
Well, I don't think we're going to be high risk of that, because last year, obviously, we had the Champions League games, and now we're not going to. We've got a good draw as well away to Wimbledon. I think we will play our full strength team, but you don't have to play them up. You'd imagine, maybe not the way we're playing at the minute, but we could dispatch with them in the first 20 minutes. Probably not. They're gonna sit back, etc. But that's what you'd expect us to do. But we'll have to see. Another thing that's come up is some more positive. It's all positive news. Isak, we're trying to tie him down to a new deal. The big thing, so obviously that's good. The big headline with that is it's going to come with a release clause.
Yes.
First question: are you happy with the release clause? And second of all, with a follow-up, what would your release clause be for Isak?
Yeah. So first off, I'm glad that I'm glad that obviously we see how good he's been, and we want to keep him here for longer, even though he has 4 years left on his contract. But I understand it. I think they were saying that this new contract is hoping to put him in that next bracket. So I'm thinking where Bruno is in terms of salary. I'm fine with it. If he wants a new deal, let's work it out. In terms of a release clause, I understand it. He wants his security. I would rather not, but I get it. The big question is, how much are you looking at in terms of that release clause? Because I'll tell you, I mean, I don't think 100 is enough. I have to be honest. I don't think 125 is enough.
Ooh.
I would probably slap 150 on there.
Wow.
To be honest. And I don't think anybody would pay it, which is fine. But I don't know if he would agree to it. But still, it's one of those things where I'm like, this is a Premier League. He is shown that he is a great prolific striker. He is 23, 24, I think, around there. It's one of those things where, hey, if you put him in a team like Man City, Barcelona, Real Madrid, he'll bang in 30, 40 easy. He just needs the service, and that's something that we've been hoping to get him for the last couple of years. Instead we're getting Lloyd Kelly and John Ruddy.
Don't remind me. Jesus,
but yes, I mean, what do you think? How do you feel about it? I mean, I feel like
I feel like the club. So I think I would put 120 on him immediately. We spent 60 on him. You double your money, and the way that this remuneration or whatever the bullshit is in PSR, FFP bollocks, that will make that in theory with we've bought players for 40 million. And we can do that again with Paul Mitchell. And ideally, you can do, a minimum 3 signings, but I think you can do more than that with the way that the money works. So I think if you're getting 120 million, do it. That's what won Liverpool the title. they used the Coutinho money to buy Virgil and Alisson. So that's what they needed. That's what they did. Now, we're nowhere near where Liverpool were then, but those are the sort of things where just because of the way that the money situation is in the rules, we're going to have to sell. And I do not mind selling. We're always going to hit that with the rules. We're always going to hit that sort of barrier. If the rules weren't there, we wouldn't have to sell anyone. But I think the club will put one in that's like 90 to 100 million.
Yeah.
I'm scared they will, because like Man City are like, lovely, take you off hands, because Haaland has kind of made it clear that he wants to, he'll go, he'll like win his titles, get his goals, see you later, off to Real Madrid or Barcelona, whoever. So, and teams like Barcelona, Arsenal, I think Isak's perfect for Arsenal. He's exactly what they need. He can do the interplay, he can beat a man, he can score a goal. He's 10 times the player that Havertz is.
Yep. But
I think 90 to 100 million they'll do. I would take 120. I'd like your idea of 150.
Yeah.
But are they going to is he going to agree to that? Because he's like, no one's spending 150 on me. So it's like, what they do in La Liga. I think they have to have release clauses. So they always go, Vinicius Jr., you can have him for billions. Nice one. Yeah, good one. Yeah, all right. Oh, dear. That's the release clause.
Ridiculous.
It's like, Mark, you can have £1,000 a day if you're 6 foot. Oh, a good one. Yeah, well, I'm 5'8", so that's never going to happen. Anyway, from one great striker to another, our former world-class striker, Dwight Gayle, has found himself a new team. And I'm good, because I saw that he was a free agent. And I was like, Football Manager, I could do loads of Dwight Gayle on a freebie by like in the Conference League. He's found his way into Scotland at Hibs. So fair play. He's gone a Hibernian. I just want to ask you quickly, he was fantastic for us in the Championship. What for you was your favorite goal of Dwight Gayle's? What was your memories of this amazing human being?
Oh man, that's a great question. It's one of those things where the Championship that season was great because he was tearing it up.
That was amazing.
The year after, I think this was 2020, COVID year. I want to say this was COVID year, and I remember we were playing West Brom, and it was a dreadful game. Dreadful. This is the height of Bruce Ball. Absolutely terrible. And he was the only person who scored. I think it was a 1-0 win against West Brom. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But I was like, okay, nice. Hey, Dwight Gayle's back. He's doing what he does, and then got hurt. Never saw him again. So that's it.
For me, it was one of them players where he really shows the difference of the Championship and the Premier League.
Yeah.
And it's all up here. Because the goals he scored in the Championship, my memory of him was when we beat Norwich. I think it was 4-3 in the last minute after being 3-1 down or 3-0 down.
Yep.
We just got the ball, kick off. We scored 2 goals in like 2 minutes, and he scored. And I was like, oh my God, amazing.
Time. Oh my God.
It was an amazing match. But like, he could score free kicks and everything. But when it came to the Premier League, he one-on-ones he wouldn't do. Like
terrible.
Headers in 6 yards he wouldn't do. And I'm like, bro, you were doing this week in, week out. It's all up here. Absolutely up here. He had the ability. And I'll be forever grateful for that man. And I also, he also mugged me off because I work in Sheffield. So I'm in Yorkshire, a lot of teams in the Championship in Yorkshire. So I was giving it the big one going, mate, Dwight Gayle, he'll get 10 goals easy. I bet some people go, 10 in the Premier League, minimum 10. Because he's got like 20 odd. They got like 3.
It's like great. 3, if that.
I looked like the idiot that I am.
I don't think he scored 10. Mark, I don't think he's scored 10 goals in our time in the Premier League with us at all.
He scored a hat-trick past Liverpool for Crystal Palace that time, didn't he? Like with Tony Pulis.
He did.
So where'd that guy go? Like,
oh, Lord. Oh my God, man!
Good memories. Last time I saw, I think one of the last few matches I've been for a match ages. I think it was away at Barnsley. He scored both goals, and we won 2-0. I was there. Just shit all Barnsley. Don't go there. Well, I'm going to say this has been very nice. I hope this again. This happens every week. We're going to sack the board. It's just going to be the Bald and Bow show. But thank you everyone that made it this far. Do hit a like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot. Comment below your score predictions. And thank you very much. Bo, have a good day, mate.